In the learning activities, we saw how to find and replace, we used a find and a substring, right? So we learned how to find the period in a sentence, and then we found the second one by changing the position of where we started the find. And so we saw how to do two, and we kind of knew when they were. But now when we've got to find 15 in the case of the apostrophes, or 5 in the case of the striped, we're actually going to need to use a loop to accomplish this. And so let's just kind of talk through what that's going to look through. And I'll just kind of do it in a pseudocode sort of way. So what we want to do is we need the position, right? So we want to figure out what the position is, and we're going to say the position is equal to find. And in this case, we want to, and here's the pseudocode part, find the first occurrence, right? The first ampersand a positive, right? So we want to find the first one and find its position. And then we want to loop. So we're going to find it over and over. We're going to find them over and over again. So the loop that we're going to use, I wonder why it won't let me backspace there. Okay, so we're going to do a while loop that, and while the position is not equal to, right, we're going to go until we get no position back from find. And remember that no position, so this way we can loop. Remember that this was a constant that belonged to the string class, and it's static. So we can access it without actually using a string. So we just use string : : and we can say while that position is not the end of file, right? When we find it, it stores there. If it doesn't find it, this will happen in the case that it doesn't exist in the file. It will also happen when there's no more, when you've already found all of them and there's no more to find. So that's when we're going to use it. It's like, hey, when we can't find any more, then we're done. And what we want to do inside this while loop is we want to make whatever change, make an update. In the one case, we're going to replace the a apostrophe with an apostrophe. So we'll do a replace, right? In the other case, we'll do an insert. So we're going to make an update, and then we want to find the position again. So, but now instead of finding the current one, right, we're going to find the next apostrophe. And that's really the whole thing. That's really what we're going to be doing. So, and this is the end of the while. And that's all we need to do. So, one more time. Find the position of the first one, then the loop as long as it's not the no position. So as long as it can find another one, we're going to keep looping. Then first thing in the loop, we make an update. Then the next thing is we find the next one. So that's how you can go through and loop finding the apostrophes. That'll work out really well for the apostrophes. The insert is just a little bit trickier, right? So you're going to find the first striped, and then you're going to keep going as long as you can find stripes, right? And you want to find the next striped. The tricky part on this one, and so you're going to need to pay attention to this one, is be careful not to find the same one again. And the same one again. If this happens, you're going to have an infinite loop, because it's going to say, okay, I found one, and then I made an update, and then I found the same one again, and I made an update, and I found the same one again. Since you're finding the same one over and over again, it will never get to no position. It'll never find the next and the next and the next and finally get done. So this will turn into an infinite loop. So if you end up getting an infinite loop, kind of find this. And the way you'll see that is the program just keeps running longer than you expect. So if we look at the story and we're looking for striped, let's see why this would happen. So if we find the position, right, if we find striped, then it's going to give us this position in the string. And so we find that position and we insert red and a space, and then we look. Well, we'll be looking from this position, right? We just inserted red, but the position is this index number right here. So now if we look for stripe, we're going to find this same one again. So there needs to be some alteration in the position. So we're going to insert at that position, and then we need to adjust where we start looking. We certainly don't want to start looking at that same position. So we want to make the update and then adjust the position so it is past the striped. So we're not finding that same one again. So a little added detail. Now, this really gives you some experience of what it means to work with strings, right? You have to think through the details of how to work through strings to do that manipulation. And you have to also identify how does my manipulation change the string, and address that as well. So this will give you lots of experience with using string methods and then thinking through what difference that makes.